Well, myself and my colleague were on quite a proactive unit, so we were in an unmarked vehicle, looking out for anything that looked out of place, anything that looked like it might be a bit dodgy, and saw a vehicle just didn't look right, looked a bit tatty. Could see at least 3 people in the car, all wearing quite a lot of clothing. We've run a check using our ANPR systems, which showed that the MOT, I think, was out of date, or something really minor anyway. So we've then gone to light it up and to stop it. Hasn't stopped. We've had a bit of a pursuit. It's driving all over the place, smashing through cars, desperate to get away. So they certainly were keen on not getting caught. Basically, they've pulled into this residential street, Broadhurst Avenue, and they've dumped the car and run. And as we've pulled in behind them, just as they got out of the car and they're just running off, I've gone after the passenger. My colleague has gone after the driver, and I've had a foot chase through some front gardens on Broadhurst Avenue. I didn't have a clear sight of the guy I was chasing, so I was running actually along one side of the hedgerow and he was on the other side. It wasn't until he emerged from behind the hedges that I got a good look at him, and it was at that stage that I quickly saw he had a handgun in each hand, which was a shock to say the least. So initially I've shouted to him, "Police, stop." His response was to turn around and start shooting at me. It was like a gangster really, just holding both of the guns out behind him and just opened up. I felt a little bit of spray come up, something hit my forearm. I don't really know what that was to this day. It might have been something from the weapon itself, it might have been something from where one of the rounds had landed. But whatever it was, it kind of made it all a bit more real. It's gone from trying to stop a car from having no MOT to getting shot at very quickly. And I've initially carried on running after him, but quite quickly seen that there was an elderly gentleman and another chap that ended up in between where I was and where this guy was running away. And at that stage I thought, well, there's a bit of a risk to them, because obviously this guy's quite happy to shoot at me and he's not particularly aiming where these shots are going. So I've quickly bundled both of those behind a wall. And it was when we turned the corner here that I saw that there was a lot of kids and a lot of people walking on the pavements, and at that stage I had to make the decision that there was no way it was safe to carry on going after him. If I carried on chasing him and he started shooting again and somebody was shot, then then I'd have to live with that. I heard my colleague call up on the radio that he'd found somebody in the back of the car who was tied up, had quite a serious head injury, and had disclosed to my colleague that he'd been kidnapped at gunpoint and he was about to be taken off and shot. Normally when you go into a situation, you've got a bit of an idea of what you're going to be facing, then you can kind of make an assessment, a risk assessment, before you go in. We literally had no information. There was no reason why this should turn out the way it did. We had no reason to suspect that there would be a bloke tied up in the back of the car. We had no reason to think that the occupants would have access to firearms and drugs and would have a willingness to shoot at police.